message is authorised by Mike Smith, 73 Brougham Street, Mount Victoria, Wellington, and Rita Lowe, 36B Adams Terrace, Aro Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's election will be a choice. It will be a choice between a vision for a fair society and one where everyone in New Zealand can contribute, and going back to the past of the 1990s where people were excluded from New Zealand society and unable to contribute. Here in Wellington, we've done really well in the last 9 years. We've made sure under a Labour government that there's been funding to protect council housing and that there's been funding for public transport in this city. If I'm elected as the MP for Wellington Central, I'll be making sure that we continue to support being a sustainable city. That means more investment in our buses and our trains, and also more investment in our housing stock. We need to make sure that we insulate every house in this city over the next 10 years to ensure that we have an energy efficient city and also a healthy city. At a national level, Labour has done a lot in the last 9 years. We've improved people's access to education, and today we've made a significant announcement that there will be student allowances for all students by 2012. That goes along with our promise for interest-free student loans and the work that we've done to improve quality teaching and tertiary education. In the primary sector, we're introducing the new New Zealand curriculum that's going to make a huge difference to the kind of outcomes we get from our primary school students. And hello there! And from our secondary schools, we're going to see the introduction of Schools Plus, which is a major policy advance for New Zealand. It's going to mean that all students have an individual learning plan that will mean that we don't have students emerging from secondary education who don't have qualifications. At the moment, we have the situation where up to 20% of our students leave secondary school without any qualifications. We're going to be working with all students to make sure that they come out the other end. Thank you, come out the other end successful. That's going to mean that for some students, they'll spend 2 or 3 days a week in a workplace and the other 2 days a week in school. We've got to make sure that the student experience is tailored to get the best out of people. In healthcare, Labour has made major advances in primary healthcare. We've reduced the cost of going to the doctor for all New Zealanders, an average of $26 now for a visit to the doctor, in half from what it was in 1999. And standard prescriptions were $15, now $3. Labour's making sure that we're getting health care at the earliest stages rather than waiting for people to get sick and get into hospital. Labour's also made major advances in housing, and there's going to be more policy announcements about making it easier and more affordable to buy a first home. On the environment, we've got to make sure that we protect New Zealand's clean green image. At the moment, it's more of an image than a reality in some cases, so we need to invest money in making sure that our air and our water is clear, and that we make sure we take real steps to mitigate climate change. The issue of how we protect our environment is linked totally to our economic future. We need to be able to show to the rest of the world that we produce goods sustainably and that they can buy them without thinking that they're doing anything detrimental to the planet. So this is a big set of choices in this election. What National is offering is short-termism. It's not looking towards the long term. They're seeking to fund their tax cuts by gutting KiwiSaver, by gutting the savings scheme that we put in. G'day! And by cutting back on research and development, which is one of the keys to getting productivity going. They're also not looking at investing in the future of education. They're not looking at putting the money into the strong public services that Labour has developed over the last 9 years. So I'm asking the people of Karori to put 2 ticks for Labour, 1 for Grant Robertson as your Labour candidate, and 1 for the Labour Party. Because it's only with that kind of approach that we're going to make sure that Wellington keeps growing and prospering, and that New Zealand keeps growing and prospering. Thank you for listening.